I'll just walk it through quickly again. So, verse 8, uh, Prabhupada is going to describe this in a few points because this verse is going to teach us about attachment. So, he's going to teach us how to make mind our friend, give us a meaning of residing in Raja. How can we make the mind our friend? Hearing is the strongest tool that we have. And how can we do devotional service in different types? So, that's what Prabhupada is going to talk about. Okay. Yeah. We'll go through this verse. Yeah. Okay. So, yes, we just talked about tad anuragi jananugam. Follow the ones more attached to Krishna. And how do you do that? You create a very conducive environment around you, culture around you. Tishthan Vraje. Vraje, you living in Vrindavan, right? In Rupa Goswami's time, who's the author of this book, Vrindavan was the best place to be. So, but then the Tishtan Vraje indicates create Vrindavan around yourself. That's another meaning that Prabhupada has given us of this Tishtan Vraje. You can create Vrindavan at your house, at your office, at your friend circle, and most importantly, within your heart. Vrindavan can manifest anywhere depending on our consciousness. Okay? There are four types of Vrindavans given in Shastra. One is the spiritual world, for sure. That's the Golok Vrindavan. Then there's a Vrindavan which is in this planet Earth. You all might have visited that place. And then there's a Vrindavan that is created by a pure devotee. Right? And then the fourth one is Vrindavan you create in your heart. So four types of Vrindavan. But then how does a Vrindavan created by a pure devotee? In the first canto of Srimad Bhagavata, when Vidur, so to give you a background, before the war happened, Duryodhan kicked Vidur out of the palace because Vidur was supporting the Pandavas. So Duryodhan said, "You leave, I don't want you in my army." So okay, so Vidur takes that as an opportunity to go for pilgrimage. And then when the whole war was over, he comes back and he meets Yudhishthir. And when Yudhishthir meets him, that's the first canto, the 13th chapter, Yudhishthir says a verse. He says, Bhavad Vidha Bhagavatas, Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibhu, uh, Tirtha Kurvanti Tirthani, Swanthasthina Gadabhrata. What he's saying is that when a pure devotee, wherever he goes, he creates that place as a Vrindavan, as a place, holy place. So when I go to a holy place, I'm going to get rid of my sins. But when a pure devotee goes there, he is going there to clean that area. So look at it from that perspective. Okay. So yes, so four types of Vrindavans. You can create a Vrindavan in your heart. Wherever a pure devotee is, that place is also Vrindavan. And then there is a spiritual Vrindavan and there's a Vrindavan on this planet Earth. So when Rupa Goswami is saying Tishthan Vraje, that means you can stay in Raja. You can physically stay there for sure, yes. Or you can create that Vrindavan in your heart also. Prabhupada has also given us a very clear instruction. Don't go and stay in Vrindavan just for fun. That can be detrimental sometimes to our bhakti also. Because when you are in the most spiritual place in the world, if we do some sins there, the effect multiplies. So keep that in mind. Okay, and then where is told Kalam Nayed Akhilam. Pass all your time like this. Don't do time pass. Right? People are so bored doing their daily chores. They're just chewing the chewed again and again. Doing it this way, or let's eat this way, let's sleep this way, now we have sleep number beds and now everything fancy. But what are we doing? We're doing the same thing. We're still sleeping on it, right? Mating, defending, the same things. You've just been trying to coat it with some other color, cloth or something. But the basis is still the same. It's the exact same chores that we've been doing. Ahar nidra, bhaya maithunam cha, samanya meta, pashubhir nidam. So there is a verse in the Shastras which tell us that these are the four activities that everybody does, even animals do. Eat, sleep, mate, and defend. However, what differentiates us from an animal? Right? Dharmo hi eko, dharmo hi tesham, adhiko vishesham. Dharmena hina pashubhi samahana. That without dharma, without these religious spiritual activities, we are no better than animals. So yes, don't just do time pass. Use your time properly in bhakti. Right? This world is doing the same thing, same things again and again. It's the same iPhone. They've been coming with a new version of it every year, and people think that this one is going to make me happier. And when I'm fed up of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, I go on the television and I try to see others do those things. There are soap operas that you can watch. There are so many movies that come out. They're doing the same thing which is there. They're not doing anything new. Right? Uh, when I watch the TV, I think that, oh, I am not happy. Hey, but somebody else is happy. And I can probably relish some happiness from that. Right? That's a tragic comedy that we go through. So we should utilize our time as acharyas are telling us. Kalam naid akhilam iti upadesha saram. Prabhupada says 24 hours a day. Okay? So find a teacher, find a guru, and you go and ask him, right? What is your advice? Go and ask your guru, please tell me, what should I do? Here, Guru Goswami is telling us without asking. Right? He's a guru in himself, right? So a few practical ways by which we can do these things are, whatever you do, you measure it very carefully. That is why Prabhupada gave us 4 regulative principles, 16 rounds of chanting, right? 6 artis a day. So Prabhupada made it very clear that we measure what we are doing. When you measure something, what you're practicing, then your mind becomes cautious that, oh, this thing is important for this person. That is why he or she is measuring it. And then the mind also knows that only this is what this person is going to do. If you don't give a measure, if you tell, oh, I chant the whole day in my heart, then your mind just goes crazy. He says, no, that's not something I want to do right now. So, okay, so measure what you're doing. Second, eat a balanced diet. Okay. Then wake up in time. Wake up early in the morning if you can to have a powerful spiritual experience. Okay. Memorize scriptures. That's one aspect of Bhakti Shastri. Okay. Your brain likes that. If you don't memorize things, if you don't repeat them to yourselves, you'll just see them float by. Memorization is a good food for the brain. Okay. So yeah, that's what Rupa Goswami is telling us in there. So Prabhupada in the purport, he starts the purport by telling us, make the mind your friend. Okay, he says, since the mind may be one's enemy or one's friend, one has to train the mind to become his friend. That's what Prabhupada is starting. Right? Now there are 4 ways by which you can make your mind agree to something. Okay, or by which our mind agrees to do something. The lowest level is fear. Okay, we do things out of fear. The level higher to fear is duty. Oh no, sorry, it's prospect. What is in it for me? So fear, prospect. Then comes duty. I see it as duty. Okay, yes, my spiritual master told me, I'm doing it. But the topmost level is love. So that's the topmost level of making your mind agree. Right? So make your mind your friend. When you're doing something out of love, your mind is fully focused on that. Otherwise, yes, you can force somebody out of fear, out of a sense of duty, prospect, but that's not perfect. Love is what it makes it perfect. So if by following some of these things, as I just mentioned, eating habits and sleeping habits, it helps you to train your mind. Okay. So we have to train our minds in a way by which we are not able to remember anything else other than Krishna when we are leaving this body. Yes, Sandeep.
Wait, what's the second category you said after Bhaya? What's the second one?
Prospect. What is in it for me? What is in it for me?
Okay.
Right? Yes. And then comes duty, and the topmost is love. So,
Okay.
yeah. So we have so many impressions in our mind that you can barely imagine. I don't know about you, I grew up, like I grew up in India. When I was growing up, we didn't have 24-hour TV. We used to just have it rarely, like only, I think on the weekends in the evening, we used to have television. And but you'll not believe it, I still remember advertisements from that time when I was a kid and I was growing up. I remember those jingles. I can still recite them. That's the kind of impressions we all are carrying around. Right? So it seems that it's going to be very easy for me to remember Krishna, but it's going to be extremely hard because at that minute, at that moment, we'll be in immense pain. It's said in Shastras that when we are dying, it's very much like 1,000 scorpions biting us at the same time. So to remember Krishna at that moment is going to be a very, very hard thing unless we have not trained ourselves throughout our lives. Yes, Julian Yatra.
In one of the SB lectures, Hadai Pran Prabhu was mentioning that one of his friends went through a accident, and like it was a severe car accident, and during that time he was thinking about washing powder Nirma.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what happens. Yes. It's but if you have been chanting, so it's you have to understand that yes, there is a part that you are putting in your effort for sure. That's very important. But also remember that Krishna is also there watching you. He also brings in his. When we come to Ishopnishad, there is a verse to it, the second last verse, where the speaker of Ishopnishad is asking that that please remember me. If I'm not able to remember you at the last minute, please remember me. But Prabhupada in the purport says a devotee does not have to tell that to Krishna. Krishna comes and reminds him if that devotee cannot remember it. So yes, you have to put in your full effort and always be optimistic and determined that Krishna is going to come and help you out. He's always there looking for you. He is more eager to bring you back home than I am eager to go back home back to him. So he doesn't let go of any of his loved ones, any living entity who has shown even a little interest in coming back to him. But then we have to we have to demonstrate that yes, Krishna, I want to connect with you. That's the important thing that we all have to do, right? There is no strategy, right? It's not like there's a strategy to become a pure devotee, right? Different people engage with Krishna or Krishna consciousness in different ways. Krishna consciousness is like an ocean. Krishna consciousness. Some people just appreciate it from the beach. Oh, very nice, having a good time. Okay. Some people do that the whole afternoon, just sit on the beach, just sit on a deck chair and watch everyone else in the ocean having a good time. But then some people go to the edge of the ocean. No, no, just this is nice. Dip one foot in, very nice, very cooling. But then there are some people who go into the ocean, and then they're surrounded by the ocean, but they're just swimming on the surface, right? But then there are some people who Rupa Goswami says become makara. Makara in Sanskrit means the shark. A shark swims deep in the ocean. So then there are some people who go deep and they want to find out the jewels on the seabed. So which one am I? That's the question you want to ask yourself. Am I going to just watch the devotees from the sideline? Oh, yes, nice, nice. I come to the temple once a week. Funny, beautiful. Yes, I love the deities. And then just go home and do whatever I want to do, forget about it. Or are we the ones who are dipping our toes in? Oh, nice, very good. What do I want to be? That's something that you have to ask yourself. It, like there's a prayer that we sing every morning to the deities. Sansar davanal nalalida loka, which says Sansar davanal. Davanal means like a forest fire. This world is like a forest fire, and you cannot extinguish a forest fire by bringing in a fire truck. You cannot take a bucket of water and do it. It has to be a rain that will extinguish that fire. So, so yeah, so it's a blazing forest fire. It's not a joke. Okay, so yeah, to remember Krishna at the time of death is not a joke. It's a big thing. So you have to be immersed. It's going to take special effort. You can't do it half-heartedly. Of course, whatever you do, it's wonderful. You will make advancement, right? But sometimes we take it lightly also. So try your best to be as less distracted as possible. Krishna talks about this in the second chapter. Vyavasatmika buddhi eke hi kuru nandana. Bahushakha hi anantascha buddhaye avyavasayinam. Vyavasatmika buddhi. Of an intelligent person, the buddhi, the intelligence is very focused to one point. But for a person who's distracted, his intelligence can be in a billion places, trying to go everywhere. So yes, Prabhupada always used to say, you have given so many lives to Maya. Just give one life to Krishna. Right? So it's not an easy thing to remember Krishna at the last minute. Just wanted to highlight that to everyone. It's not that easy. And I've known, I remember somebody asked me, or did I hear it somewhere, that somebody asked that, hey, you know what? Can't I just, do whatever I want to my whole life, and then the last minute I put a gun to my head and I chant Krishna's name and I shoot myself. Then I can go back home, back to him. No, it doesn't work that way. When you see that verse, the 8.6, which Prabhupada is quoting here, it says, state of being one remembers. So it's smaran. Smaran means remembrance. It's not utterance. You might utter Krishna's name, but if you're not remembering Krishna, then it's not going to help. And how are you going to remember? Then you can go back home, back to God. So took a detour there, but yes. So coming back to Vrindavan aspect, which we mentioned here. So how can we go to Vrindavan, right? I mentioned that you can create a Vrindavan wherever you're living in. Prabhupada has created so many temples. We have teachings of Prabhupada, Rupa Goswami, our spiritual masters, and there are teachers who visit us now and then. We take association, such pure devotees. Right? So that's how we can be in Vrindavan. Even if we're not able to be there physically, we can be in Vrindavan mentally, emotionally. So this stage, what stage this verse is talking about is asakti, attachment. Where are we right now? Or where am I right now? I know. She has Shraddha, I had some faith. So I started doing sadhu sangha, I started associating with devotees. I started doing some devotional service here and there. However, right now, what phase I'm going through is anartha nivritti. Anartha nivritti means clearing up my heart, cleaning my heart. So in that context, this verse is an advanced level. But in this book, we are being taught the full curriculum. We cannot artificially jump into what we are not ready for. Okay? Right? So, and we should not be overly averse to knowing things. Right? We might say, oh, this is way beyond me. I will not read it. No. Don't try to achieve that stage unnaturally, but you should know about it. It strengthens your bhakti. It strengthens your commitment to bhakti process. If people keep, I know many people who come to the temple, they'll visit on Sundays, they'll forget about it, and decades pass in their lives, and there is no improvement. Unfortunately, that's not helping them a lot. People, in India, that's a very common thing. Oh yes, Tuesday I go to the temple, Hanumanji temple. Saturday I go to Shani Dev temple, and there are other days of the week for different demigods. And the rest of the week I do whatever nonsense I want to. I don't change as a person. Then it's of no use. It's not helping us much. A change has to happen in our bhakti, in our heart. We should feel that change. It's not a theoretical process. It's an actual process. It's science that you could hypothesize, experiment, and there will be an outcome to this science. So no, just blind faith on anything. Okay. So so we are in this verse is talking about a higher stage. Okay. Then Prabhupada, he goes on, telling us about death, and then I think he talks about what his guru has mentioned about this verse. That he's talking about it, what his guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, has talked about it. So when should we do this? Leave everything, go to Vrindavan when we have developed taste for such things. Before that, we should give up material motives. That's the stage of ruchi, interest. We should not artificially jump to this stage. Again, I'm telling you, but don't try to go and stay in Vrindavan. As I was mentioning, it might be even detrimental. Prabhupada used to say, there are so many monkeys in Vrindavan, or which one of whoever of you has gone to Vrindavan, you'll see there are a lot of monkeys in Vrindavan. Prabhupada used to say, these monkeys are the people who came to enjoy in Vrindavan. So that's Krishna's, that's Mother Nature's punishment to them. That you came to enjoy in Vrindavan, in the most holiest place where people come to purify themselves. You didn't take it seriously. Okay, fine, become a monkey. So Prabhupada used to say that. So, but yeah. So now Prabhupada is giving us a very practical way by which we can develop this mindset of attachment to Krishna. Okay. And then Prabhupada goes through many different stages in here. And I think I had them on my slides to make it easier. Yes. So there are different stages of remembrance, which Prabhupada has talked about. There is Shravan, Varan, Smaranavastha, Sampati, Dasha. So there are 4 stages that Prabhupada has talked about of remembrance. Okay, so let's look at it in here. Yeah, so he's talked about it, Varna, and so forth. So let's just look at it. It may be easier for you to grasp the thing here. Okay. So Prabhupada, in this purport, he mentions that, yes, Sandeep.
Prabhuji, you said like the remembrance at the time of death, right? That's what decides like if somebody goes to Krishna or not. If he remembers Krishna, then they can. So probably in the real world, right? Usually like outcome of any scenario is based on like overall life, right? For example, if I go to college, right? I go to school, I go to college, then my future actually depends on like all of those things put together, right? Not just at the end of what something I do, from a real world perspective. uh, not that only that one point of time what I do, right? So my question, Proji, here is like when you say remembrance, does it mean like the acquired sanskars or like some kind of a moment, remembrance is like a some kind of image of Krishna or thought of Krishna or something like that? What does remembrance actually mean?
So let's look at it this way. Where does remembrance come from? Okay. So let's say, like many of us, I still remember not now, but when I was younger, if I would get hit, many kids shout, "Oh, mommy," they go running to their mother, right, when they get hurt. Why? Because they have this deep inside their heart that my mother is protecting me. So that's a thought that has developed in their mind throughout their whatever little lives they have, right? It's not that you can live an entirely materialistic life and then at the last second magically switch to remembering Krishna. It doesn't work that way. Your final thought is shaped by your lifetime's habits. Okay. So let's look at it by an analogy. Let's think your life is like steering a ship, right? The last moment is reaching the harbor and you dock your ship. But the whole journey determines whether your ship is pointing towards that harbor when the wind picks up at the end. The last moment is a decisive trigger for your next birth, for sure. It's a deciding trigger for your next birth. But your whole life is the training and conditioning so that your last moment is favorable. Did that make sense, Rohit?
Yes, Prabhuji. So essentially what you're saying is that the last moment is like you are like pointed to the direction of the destination, right? Basically, otherwise you'll be kind
Yes.
of lost. Okay.
Yes. So for example, throughout my life, if I don't, let's say I'm chanting, right? I chant every day. If I don't practice this, how can I? So even now when I'm chanting, I've been chanting for over a decade now. Even now when I chant, my mind doesn't come, it's not under my control. It's running all over the place. How can I imagine that in the last moment I'll be able to remember Krishna? When right now, when by Krishna's mercy I'm healthy and I'm not able to fix my mind on Krishna, how can I be able to fix on my mind on the last minute of my life when my whole body is suffering, my mind, I'm just in a pathetic situation. It's practically impossible. So the training and conditioning has to happen throughout the life so that when the last moment comes, I can consciously remember Krishna. Yes. So
Got it.
to answer your question, yes, throughout your lives, your efforts are very valuable. It's not just the last minute. That is why Krishna is saying, Yam Yam Vapi Smarana Bhavam. Smarana means remembrance. What will you remember at the last minute of your life? Something that you have invested throughout your life in. I have seen people. I was with one person who was leaving his body. He was in his late 70s. He had cancer and his whole body was in pain, immense pain. And doctors just told him, go home, you know, soon you leave your body. I saw him. He was trying to give a $500 check for the temple. So just imagine this person is about to die, but he couldn't. He wrote the check, but while he was giving the check, he has this hesitation. He was not willing to leave that check from his hand. He was still thinking, and he told me that I worked so throughout my life, and at this last moment, even though I know that nothing will be mine, I still cannot give up this money of mine. It's so hard for me. He would ask his son to bring pizza and Coke for him every day. But his body was in such immense pain, and there was such a reflex acidity in his stomach. He could just eat one bite of it. But his mind was so fixated on what he had eaten throughout his life, enjoyed his 10 senses, that's what was showing up in the last minute. And even more importantly, when he was nearly about to die, like he leave his body, he obviously, when the last minute comes, all your senses shut down. It's like it closes up, everything closes up, except your hearing. That remains till the last. And then you can feel the person breathing. It's very shallow breathing. You have to go very close to that person's mouth to feel whether that person is breathing or not. That person, the doctor told us, okay, he's going to leave within 24 hours. But that person didn't leave in 24 hours. Another 24 hours passed. Another 24 hours passed. Then one evening when I went to see him, it might have been like late in the evening, like 9 or 10 in the evening, I went to meet him. His daughter was sitting there in front of him. And within a couple of hours, he left. So his heart was in his daughter. He was waiting for his daughter. So you realize that throughout our lives, what impressions we have generated. My love for my children, my attachment to my money, my intense desire to engage my tongue in eating habits. They all will come towards the end of my life. Sorry, I gave a very long answer to your short question, but it was a good question. Hope it was clear, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji, so much. That's really, really helpful. Prabhuji, just was one last thing because this always comes to my mind, this question. So Prabhuji, I mean, okay, so that's great answer, Prabhuji. Like, okay, so somebody gets to like, that point, obviously, like if they're really pure devotee, if they get to a point where, their impressions are all tailored towards Krishna, right? But let's say because I don't know, like what happens at the time of death, right? Maybe people don't even have any impressions left, right? Maybe no thought process, who knows, right? So that point of time, if there are no impressions or some, so then does Krishna come himself to help out devotee because it's just beyond their control, right? To control the impressions that time. Like, what does the Shastra say on this, Prabhuji?
I'm not sure. Do you mean like if the person is not in a conscious state and is he coma or something, then what happens to him?
Yeah, Prabhuji, yeah.
Okay, so I'll show you that verse. I was referring to this. I'll show you that verse. It comes in the Shri Shopnishad. It's the 17th verse. And I'll show you what Prabhupada says in that purport. I'll share my screen. This is the 17th verse of Ishopnishad. There are only 18 verses in the Ishopnishad. The speaker is saying, let this temporary body be burnt to ashes, and let the air of life be merged with the totality of air. Now, O my Lord, please remember all my sacrifices. And because you are the ultimate beneficiary, please remember all that I have done for you. Okay, this is the speaker. This is the writer, whoever it is. Okay, but now what does Prabhupada say? Where's that? I want to show you that sentence that Prabhupada says. Here. Yeah, okay, this one. Unlike the simpler animals who have no developed mind, the dying human being can remember the activities of his life like dreams at night. Therefore, his mind remains surcharged with material desires, and consequently, he cannot enter into the spiritual kingdom with a spiritual body. The devotees However, develop a sense of love for Godhead by practicing devotional service to the Lord. Even if at the time of death a devotee does not remember his service to the Lord does not forget him. This prayer is given to remind the Lord of the devotee's sacrifices. But even if there is no such reminder, the Lord does not forget the service rendered by his pure devotee. Okay. So this is the love that Krishna has for all of us. If I, for some reason, well, I'm not a pure devotee, but let's say a pure devotee, for some reason, the pure devotee goes in a coma or whatever it could be, his brain dies, brain dead, or whatever it may be. But then Krishna can remind the person about himself. And Krishna does that. Okay. So
Thank you,
yes.
Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very, very good explanation. Thank you.
Yeah, this is, if you want to go read it, this is Ishopanishad, verse 17. You can read the purport in detail. Okay.
So, Prabhu, I'm sorry. What happens to us who are not pure devotees?
Well, why are you
At the
not a
time
pure
of death?
devotee yet? Why are you not a pure devotee? you
Well,
should,
you
well,
said
we
you're
all,
not a pure devotee, so I definitely know I'm not a pure devotee.
we all should aspire for it. See, you have to understand that it's not just my effort that's making the whole change. It's Krishna's mercy also that's going to make us a pure devotee. However, as I've been telling it, you have to be sincere and consistent in your practice. Krishna will give you so many realizations. You might not be able to see Krishna's face every day, but you'll see Krishna's hand in your life every single day. I'll give you an example. I've been going through this for the past 1 year. At my job, I've been having a very tough time. My manager changed, my whole job profile changed. They pulled me into a team which I had zero clue about what they were doing, what the technology was. They pulled me in it just because I had some experience with managing people. So they pulled me in. But it was such a nightmare for me. And on top of that, my boss expected me to be 100% up and running within a couple of months. That cannot be. I have no clue what this thing is. You'll have to give me a lot of time for it. For a year, I was just going through a nightmare. I was constantly, very angry with my boss. And why is she saying this to me? And, doesn't she understand? And that. And I was praying to Krishna every single day that Krishna, please help me out with this. It's kind of to an extent that it's hurting. It's not kind of just interfering with my bhakti process. I'm thinking about that. Krishna doesn't do anything. Year passed. Then one day I was chanting, and Krishna made me realize that Prem Dham, there is a reason why I'm putting you through this. And and then I realized that let me look for what the reason is then. And then I realized that throughout for my whole life, what I've been doing is I've been living two lives. I am a spiritual person and I am a professional. And I thought that I should not merge both of them. I would never merge both of them. I would not want to talk about what my beliefs are, what my eating habits are, how I live my life at home. I don't want to tell people I wake up at 4 in the morning and I chant for 2 hours and read and what. I was just keeping my spiritual life separate from my professional material life. I realize that that's what Krishna wants me to do. He wants me to be more authentic in my life. He's telling me, Prem Dham, you've been wearing a mask, which is making you very uncomfortable. Remove that mask. And I did that. And Krishna mercy, things are becoming so much better for me now. So this is just an example I gave you that how I see Krishna's hand in my life every day. If we all see it that way, be very conscious and be very reflective, be very uh, introspective, you will see Krishna's hand in your life every single day. And you will see your faith increasing in Krishna every single day. And being a pure devotee is not far off from you. Once again, sorry, I give a very long answer. I should shorten them, but hopefully that was helpful, Mataji.
It was, Prabhu. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, Ati Al-Beli.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So
Hare.
I was going through similar when I with all the stuff that's been going on when I shifted in January, and crazy schedule, 12 hours, you're working and you're tired at the end of the day. You're going through the same thing, Prabhuji, just like
Yeah.
what you said, completely new job, new environment. You're shaking your head, and I just I realized the same thing what you just said, that my bhakti is being hindered.
Yeah.
And I because we also moved, I do Harinam, when I sit down, and I didn't have my books with me. So I finally, about 4 or 5 weeks ago, I took my books with me, and whenever I get a free time, usually about an hour and a half, 2 hours, I'll sit down and go through and read and so forth. So
Yeah.
it has changed. I mean, it has changed dramatically. I'm also, I wasn't sleeping, like you said, not sleeping enough and looking like an owl.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So and people at my work knows I'm vegetarian. I mean, they order lunch and dinner all the time, and I don't eat
Mhm.
too much stuff at work at all. Only thing I'll eat is fruits, if the fruits are there. Otherwise, no. But long story short, um is like what you said, you just bringing the books in
Yeah.
and reading it changes everything, you
It
know
changes everything. Yes. Thank you
yeah.
very much for sharing that. Thank you.
And one more thing, Prabhuji, I have a little, I think I'd mentioned this earlier. I have a little DT, so
Mhm.
every time when I go to work, I take my I will take Radha Krishna out of my bag and I'll put him out, on my desk. And when I leave, I put him back in the bag and you know lock up my. So I mean, just to see, like because you can have you know things like that at work, but they're very like most of the jobs are understanding. Even
Yeah.
earlier when I was working, and a lot of Indians were there in my previous position, and one lady, she had this beautiful Krishna frame in her cube,
Mm.
and every time I would go to her cube, she would have Krishna, and I would look at it, and I'm like, okay, this is okay, it's normal, it's fine,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Sounds.
So
Yeah.
I have the same thing. I have my Radha Krishna in my cube, and this is normal for me. It's fine.
Yeah. It's very. Uh, Krishna is always teaching us a lesson. I just have to keep myself open and accepting. Krishna is always sending us lessons, always, and he's always there to help us. It's just me, that the tiny little kid in my mind telling me, "Oh no, Krishna is trying to hurt me." Just like when you leave your door open, a bird flies into your house, and you are opening more doors, windows. Hey, birdie, get out of the house. This is not your place for you. But the bird thinks you're trying to kill it, so the bird is running away from you, right? So that's what we are like. Krishna is opening so many doors for us, and he's saying, "I'm liberating you. Please go have fun. This is not your place to be in." But I'm saying, "No, no, you're trying to kill me, Krishna. You're trying to hurt me." So we just become that in that mindset, that fearful mindset. You have to come out of that, and that comes through chanting, through remembrance. That's what we are talking about here. The whole process of.
And one more thing, Prabhuji. I mean, you're realizing, like you said, you're realizing when
Mhm,
something's going wrong, and before I would, if I go back like about 5 years or back, right?
mhm,
I mean, you get a glimpse of it, but not like now.
mhm.
Now you're like you'll go back and search for your answers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you. Okay. So yes, there are stages that Prabhupada is giving us, different stages of remembrance. The first one is Shravan, hearing. Okay. That's the first step Prabhupada is giving us. That the beginning stage, we all have to engage in hearing Krishna Katha. Now, Krishna Katha can be about Krishna or by Krishna, both of the ways. So, about Krishna means you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, or by Krishna, you read the Bhagavad Gita. So that stage is called Shravana Dasha. Shravan is hearing, okay, with attention, right? You all come. I really appreciate that you all come after a hard day's work, and you spend an hour and a half, listening, talking, sharing, right? This you are able to make this happen because you have a regulated life. And after that comes Varan Dasha. Varan means acceptance. Okay, by prolonged hearing, where we all are products of hearing. And I just mentioned to you one example from my life, that modern day ads, that's what they're doing. They're constantly bombarding you with the same thing again and again, again and again, so that one day when your guard is down, you'll fall trap to it. Right? So here also the same thing is happening. When you keep exposing yourself to Krishna Katha, when you keep hearing about Krishna, then it will go and register in your heart. Right? But then it's not like those regular ads that you see on television or billboard. It's not that. This is not illusory. All that is illusory. This will purify your heart. It'll clean up your conscience, and it's cost free and it's side effect free. Okay. So yeah. So that's the Varan Dasha, acceptance. Okay. So uh, you're wholeheartedly there. That's Varan Dasha. You stay and listen. Prabhupada, when Prabhupada was getting initiated by his spiritual master said, "Yes, I like this boy. He doesn't go away. He listens." Because when Prabhupada was a married man, he had family responsibilities. So once he got a chance to go and see his spiritual master in Vrindavan, but that was only for a day. He could go, and that day, most of the disciples of his spiritual master, they went to see a temple which was about to be closed. But at the same time, their spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, was giving a class. But Prabhupada didn't go. Prabhupada sat there and he heard the class. And his spiritual master noticed that. That's the value of hearing, that you can attract the attention of pure devotees by that. Right? I know there's a devotee whose father used to come to ISKCON because he was collecting points to prove how ISKCON brainwashes people. But eventually, what happened is that he himself got convinced. And in a few years, he got initiated. So there are so many stories in there. That's the power of listening. Don't go away. Just stay wherever you are and listen. Sthane sthita shruti gatam tanuvan manobhir jita jito apitai strilokyam. That sthane sthita, stay wherever you are. Just hear. And by that, you will be able to conquer the unconquerable one, Krishna. Okay. So, yes. So that's the smaranavastha. So smaranavastha means when one becomes ecstatic, it becomes so deeply rooted that it becomes ecstatic, right? So that's the smaranavastha. And then the last is your eternal relationship with Krishna that gets revealed to us. So now the smaranavastha, Prabhupada also further explains that in 5 stages. Here they are 5 stages: recollection, absorption, meditation, constant remembrance, and trance. So these are the 5 stages of smaran. So going back to this again, just to make it clear for you, there are 4 stages: hearing, which is a gradual progression for us: hearing, acceptance, remembrance, and eternal relationship. Out of that, remembrance is further divided into 5 steps. Prabhupada elaborates that again to us. So what are those 5 steps? The 5 steps are recollection. Prabhupada says the first one, right? Recollection. Here, recollection. So recollection means there are short momentary thoughts of Krishna, and they're interrupted by some random thoughts, right? While working, for example, you suddenly remember, oh, I heard this audio about Krishna's flute, right? But then your mind moves on. So that's recollection. The next stage of recollection is absorption, which is called dharana. Krishna stays in your mind for a longer period of time. But focusing on Krishna still takes some effort. When we chant, you can focus on the name of Krishna and his pastimes for some time, and that too by effort. Right? Then you need to bring your mind back. So that's your dharana stage. Right? You are holding the thought intentionally. So that's absorption. Then the third stage is meditation, which is called dhyan. Right? In this stage, Krishna stays in your mind, remains in your mind without you having to pull him back. So you have more focus. The focus is steady, it's deep and natural. For example, you're thinking about Krishna's pastime and your mind doesn't run off anywhere. Right? So the mind is captured by Krishna, not just by effort, but by automatically being captured by Krishna. Then the next step is anusmriti, which is constant remembrance. This Prabhupada is saying here. Constant remembrance. Okay? So Krishna is always in the background or foreground, wherever you may, of your awareness. Even when doing other activities, the connection is unbroken. You're cooking, talking, walking, yet internally you are with Krishna the whole time. And the last step of this process of remembrance is trance, samadhi. There is no awareness of anything else except Krishna. The senses and the mind are fully absorbed in spiritual reality. That's samadhi. So those are the steps. So you can think wherever you are. You know, you could be in the first stage. There are short momentary thoughts. Most of us who all are chanting, you are in absorption state, dharana stage, because you're putting an effort to bring your mind back again. I'm just generalizing it. Some of you might be in higher stages, advanced devotees. But yes, I think I'm in recollection of first or the second step. So yes, so there are different stages. And the reason Prabhupada is giving all these things, somebody might say, oh, well, why do I need to know all these details? It helps you strengthen your bhakti process. When you read the Shastras threadbare, it makes your bhakti stronger. It makes your intelligence stronger. It fortifies your intelligence. And to corroborate this, I'll show you a verse. It comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita. I'll show you that verse. It's one of my favorite. Siddhanta baliye chitte na kar alash. Iha hoite Krishna lage sudrid manas. Yeah, this is the one. A sincere student should not neglect the discussion of such conclusions, considering them controversial, for such discussions strengthen the mind. Thus, one's mind becomes attached to Sri Krishna. So yes. So don't be thinking that, oh, I only need to know about Krishna, hear about Krishna, and nothing around it. That's okay. No. Everything is eventually feeding into strengthening your mind, helping it focus in bhakti. Okay. So those are the 5 stages that Prabhupada talked about. And let's see what else is further on. Okay. Yes. And then towards the end now, Prabhupada. So Prabhupada is explaining. I think I have a slide for it. Yes. So Prabhupada is now explaining the types of devotional service and the rasa. Rasa means the taste. It's more like a mellow. Like we all have different tastes, right? Some like to eat their dish hot, piping hot, or some people like to eat with their hands. Some people like to eat a specific kind of food. We all are different, and the reason we are different because Krishna is unlimitedly different. Like he has those unlimited qualities. All of us have one thing that is very unique to us, which nobody else in this creation has, and that one thing is coming from Krishna into me. So I am a part and parcel of Krishna, and I have that one unique quality or that one unique feeling that Krishna has, which he has endowed me and nobody else in this creation. So you're extraordinary. So that's something to remember. Keep yourself in that mindset. So yes, so there are levels of devotional service. Let's see what Prabhupada is telling us. Okay. Those who are neophytes to give up all kinds of motivated desires and simply engage in regulative devotional service of the Lord according to the directions in the scriptures. In this way, a neophyte can gradually develop attachment for Krishna's name, fame, form, qualities, and so forth. The first step is to engage in regulative devotional service. So what is regulative devotional service? Prabhupada has given us 4 regulative principles. Follow them. No meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit relationships. Follow that. Even if your senses are telling you, no, I want to drink coffee, or I want to drink tea, or I want to engage in some nonsense, I want to go gamble in Las Vegas. No, you control yourself. That's called regulative devotional service. And what are you doing by doing that regulation? You are coming to the mode of goodness. You have more control over your mind. Once we come into the mode of goodness, then things become very clear for us. Then you're able to hear what Krishna is saying from within your heart. Makes it very. So that's why we need regulated devotional service. Initially, it's an effort. You have to put in an effort. You regulate your senses. You sit down and chant. If you're initiated, your spiritual master has said chant 16 rounds every day. Or if you're chanting, if you're not even initiated, if you're chanting. So that's regulated devotional service. Once you have that, when you keep on doing that, Krishna from within your heart gives you a spontaneous love towards him. That's the next step, which Prabhupada is saying. When one has developed such attachment, he can spontaneously serve the lotus feet of Krishna, even without following the regulative principle. This stage is called Rag Bhakti, or devotional service in spontaneous love. So that's the next step, right? So the first step is regulative principles. When you keep following those regulative principles, from within your heart, Krishna gives you that love, spontaneous love. You come into raga bhakti. And then what do you do in raga bhakti? At this stage, the devotee can follow in the footsteps of the eternal associates of Krishna in Vrindavan. So we start following and you can follow it in any way. There are 5 rasas that have been given. Shanta ras, which is one aspires to be like Krishna's cows or stick or flute in the hand of Krishna. Dasya ras, the second one, you want to become a servant of Krishna. Sakhya ras, you can become a friend of Krishna. Sridham, Sudham, Arjun, all that. Vatsalya ras, you can be in a parental affection. Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda. And then there's Madhurya ras, which is characterized by conjugal love. Like Srimati Radharani, there are so many other gopis. So that's something to. Those are the different levels. Okay, those are the different levels. Yes, Sandeep.
Roji, out of all of these rasas, I think the last one, right, the Madhurya ras. I mean, we see a lot of examples like for gopis and Radharani and all of that, but mostly they are women, right? I mean, I never heard of anyone who is like a man like in that ras, right? So you have any examples from the history, like and again, that's very purely thinking from a material plane, Roji.
Well, so first of all, we don't have a, how to say it, we don't have a, we all might be man, woman in this world, but eventually, so, it feels like, okay, I'm the boss here, or, this is something for me to enjoy. But eventually, we all are meant for Krishna's pleasure. That's the eventual goal. Okay. The more we get that understanding, the more this difference of man, woman, all this goes away. Okay. So it's not that, that only women become that. Even so, let's say you leave your body you have this mindset of a conjugal relationship towards Krishna, and I'll give you more details what does conjugal mean, but I'll come to that later. When you go back home, back to Godhead, you can't become a woman. For example, Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari in the spiritual world. Manjaris are the servants of the main gopis who are serving Krishna. Those are Manjaris. So Rupa Goswami in the spiritual world is Manjari, Rupa Manjari. There is, if you all of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates, they all come from the spiritual world. But then they here take a boy form or a girl form, irrespective of that. When they come here, they take their role according to what their duties are, not according to what their relationship was in the spiritual world. Rupa Goswami's job was to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So accordingly, he took a man form, right? So that's something to understand. Okay, so that's to keep that in mind, that it doesn't mean that if you are a man in this material world, in the spiritual world also you will be a man. That's not that kind of a relationship doesn't work. I'll give you an example. When Lord Ram, he went to the forest, he was banished to the forest. This comes in the Srimad Bhagavatam. He goes to the Dandakaranya forest. He's passing through the Dandakaranya forest. There are many yogis there, sages who are meditating in the forest. They see Lord Ram and they have a desire to have a conjugal relationship with him, to have a loving relationship with him. But Lord Ram, who has come only in the form, he's a Maryada Purushottam Ram, means he's just come to teach people how to live their lives as a responsible being. He cannot have multiple wives or multiple relationships. So he tells them, this life I cannot do it. In the next life, in my next birth, when I come, then you all can have a loving relationship with me. So all those sages from the Dandakaranya forest, they take birth as gopis in Vrindavan. Okay. So yes, there are cases in this material world also. Now, I've given you the example. Conjugal relationship means when individuals are interdependent, financially, socially, emotionally, physically. Okay? When they share household and related responsibilities, and when they have made a serious commitment to one another. Conjugal does not mean sexual relations alone. So conjugal relationship has a much, much broader meaning. So yes, I know we all have that mindset. Conjugal means a sexual relationship or a loving a girlfriend, boyfriend kind of thing. That's there. I'm not refuting that. But then it has also a much bigger relationship also, right? It's not like all the gopis when Krishna goes to dance in Vrindavan, all the gopis go. No, many of the gopis stayed at home. They couldn't go because they had some commitment towards their family members. But that doesn't mean that they are not in a conjugal relationship with Krishna. They have made such a serious commitment to Krishna. They have given themselves up completely. That's conjugal relationship. Does that make sense, bro?
Yeah, Prabhuji, it totally makes sense from a spiritual perspective and also somewhat from the material perspective, Prabhuji. And again, it's a very, very hard thing to understand.
Mhm.
But Prabhuji, from a like from a Shastra standpoint or somewhere, like I mean, at least I could not find anyone who was like who did a Madhurya Rasa with Krishna while he was on the planet, right? In the form of you know, gopis, right? Dancing or something like that, right? So this where was the
So
confusion there, you know.
so that's what I was telling you, right? So it's not like conjugal relationship. If let's say if you know men gets attracted, you can have a conjugal relationship with Krishna even if you're a man. First of all, I should clear this also out that we don't get to decide what rasa I will have with Krishna. Krishna will reveal that from within my heart, right? And it always doesn't mean that a conjugal relationship, as I just explained, is not that only it can be between a boy and a girl. You can still have a deep sense of commitment towards Krishna, like Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami they had for Mahaprabhu, right? But then that doesn't mean it has to express itself in that physical relationship. So conjugal relationship means a much bigger, broader perspective. That's what I'm trying to establish.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I think that makes a lot of sense. Like basically,
Yeah.
the definition has to be changed a little bit, I guess, from a materialist standpoint. Yeah.
Yeah, and we all, at least most of us, not all of us, we come from a background where our first language is not English. And when Prabhupada writes, Prabhupada was educated in British English. He's educated in the British when the British were ruling India. So you also have to understand that many words that Prabhupada uses, they are very hardcore British English, which might not fit into the context that we are thinking of nowadays. I'll give you an example. The word gay. Prabhupada uses that word very often. But when Prabhupada was writing these books, the word gay didn't have the meaning which it has is now. At that time, gay meant happy, blissful. So Prabhupada uses that word. But then when people read Prabhupada's books now, they will feel, oh my God, that word is just a bit cringe for me. I don't want to hear that. So we also have to broaden our mind a bit to understand and grasp that whatever Prabhupada is saying is perfect. I just have to come up to the level to understand. That's the way I see it, Prabhu, whenever something that's beyond my understanding. That's the way I look at it.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay, so I think so there are these 5 rasas, right? Madhurya, Vatsalya, Sakya, Dasya, Shanta, that we can associate with Krishna. And so I think that's what Prabhupada ends there. Yes. Yeah. And then we can all come to the level of serving Krishna in that mindset, whatever it may be. Like a parent, a conjugal lover, a friend, a servant, or just in awe and reverence. Okay, I think that's all that I had in mind. Any thoughts or comments, anyone? No thoughts, no comments.
Where is this? Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Yeah.
can hear you.
Okay.
Atiyal Velimatu. Yes, please go
Yeah.
ahead.
What page are you on? Because I was looking at the textbook and what you have
So
highlighted over here.
mine is a PDF version of it. It doesn't have those page numbers. You will
Yeah,
have to.
I
Sorry, go
have
ahead.
PDF also, Prabhuji. I have PDF also on the computer.
But we might have different PDFs here. That's the thing.
Okay. Okay,
Because
no
yeah,
problem.
there might I don't know which version you download. There might have been different versions according to when it was published, 70s, 80s, 90s, those kind of things. So it might be different, but yeah, I think my version doesn't have page numbers in there. That's the thing.
Okay.
But it's the
You-
8th verse and it's the purport of the
right,
8th verse.
right before the 9th. Okay, no
Yeah,
problem.
it's the end of the 8th verse, purport of the 8th verse.
Okay.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
877.
Prabhu, you had said that you were gonna put the instead of taking screenshots, you would send those links to us. I was looking for it and I couldn't find it. Did you send it?
Which links are we referring to here?
The ones that with the graphs and with the
Oh, you mean my slides? Okay.
your
Yes.
slide.
Oh yeah, yeah. I always say that and I forget to put it in there.
Oh,
I'll do
because I
that.
was looking for them, but I couldn't find them.
I'll do that. I'll do that. It's
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
yeah, I was thinking of I can put but let me do that. I'll start doing it.
Okay, thanks,
Sorry.
Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhuji, it's easier if you just send the link. Also, for the video, then we can just click on it and watch it instead of going
Okay.
through the Google and finding it. Because
Okay.
I mean, at least it's a little bit easier, when you're walking and you want to just listen.
Okay, sure. I can do it. Okay. I saw a couple of hands raised. I'm not sure if they were still raised. Yes, Deepthi, yes, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So about the different rasas, everyone have different inclinations. Someone might want to be having parently affection, someone like all the different
Mhm.
rasas we discussed about. And then you also mentioned, like, answering to Sandeep Prabhuji's question, that Krishna inspires us from within, but that's when we are at that level of purity and all, right? But
Mhm.
as a beginner, what should be our uh, relationship or affection or way of, you know, associating ourselves with Krishna? Like, what bhav should we have?
We all should have a dasya bhav, bhav of a servant.
Dasya bhav. Okay.
Yes. The reason I'm saying this, you might go to Vrindavan and you might see there are a lot of Babajis who will pretend that they have a conjugal relationship with Krishna. Oh, I'm a gopi. Prabhupada has given us a very clear path of how to progress in bhakti. And it's a perfectly sure short path. However, if I try to jump onto any of these without me being at that level of development, there's a very good chance I might fall off. I gave you the example of all the monkeys in Vrindavan. Those are those people who artificially try to present themselves as, oh, I'm in a loving relationship. Krishna is my child. I don't care about these principles, about chanting and all that. So then what happens is that our mind fools us and then we fall down. Easiest is we start working from the servant. That is why Prabhupada says devotional service. You keep serving. You keep serving, doing services. As you keep serving, our heart becomes purified. And then Krishna, when Krishna sees that, okay, this guy's putting a lot of effort, then Krishna gives us that realization or understanding, saying that, okay, now I can relate to you, that okay, who you are, what your relationship is. He can elaborate on that, right?
Mhm.
So there are many people I know personally, people who have left just because they felt, oh, Prabhupada just gave us very basic. I will go looking for the higher purpose. I'll go see a Baba in Vrindavan. There might be some Babaji in Vrindavan who's got a long beard, wears only saffron, and has this flowery language that he speaks in. That's a sure short way to hell. Without purifying our heart, without doing service, we cannot jump over.
Mm.
We cannot jump over this sattvic lifestyle and go directly to raga nuga bhakti. It doesn't work that way. That's what Prabhupada has very, very hard trying to explain that to all of us through his books, through his own living. Even Prabhupada was a pure devotee. He knew what his relationship with Krishna was, but he was still there. He was still there on the ground working all the time. He was building temples. He was teaching his disciples how to chant. He was doing initiations. So that's the sure short path. The not I wouldn't call it the easiest, but the sure short path that we can grow in bhakti, purify our heart, and eventually realize who we are in the spiritual world.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is
You're
this
welcome.
also the reason, like everyone who are initiated are given the name Das and Dasi?
Yes, that's a very good point you bring out. We are always told, yes, my name is Prem Dham Das. People say, oh, Prem Dham, the abode of love. I said, yes, abode of love, but I'm a servant of the abode of. And I have
Mm.
to constantly remind that to myself that I'm a servant. And who am I a servant of? That's also a bigger thing. I'm not a servant of Krishna. I'm a servant of my spiritual master, who's a servant of Prabhupada, who's a pure devotee, who's a servant of Krishna. The 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 closer I try to be to Krishna, I say, no, no, I don't want anybody in middle. I'll directly interact with Krishna. Krishna doesn't like that. Krishna
Mm.
says this in the Shastras, that Krishna himself says this, that uh, it's not the devotees who are my beloveds. The people who are the devotees of my devotees are my beloved. So yes, we are always reminded of that we are das. We are das of our spiritual master, who's a pure devotee, who himself is a servant of a pure devotee. So that's how we make that connection with Krishna.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. That is why making a formal, committed relationship with the guru is extremely of value. We all feel worried that, and there's some fear in my heart. I don't want to get into initiation. I cannot commit. That's just our mind fooling us. When we commit, I remember a decade ago, not even decade, more than 2014, when I took shelter of my spiritual master, I could see a clear difference in me that very moment. My desire to serve increased exponentially. My desire to do bhakti increased exponentially. My mind became clearer. And it's been working that way since. So we all have to take a guru, take the path that Prabhupada has shown us. I talked about the initiation in a class or two earlier. When was that? What are the steps? Harinam initiation, and then we move forward. So we all should go through that. Yes. Okay. Anything else? There was another hand raised, I saw. Was there
Hare
another
Krishna
hand?
Prabhu.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Prabhu. There were just couple of things in my mind I just wanted to share. That
Yes.
Gajen Moks's story is the perfect example that Krishna is actually loving us.
Mhm.
I know he offered the prayer because the intelligence is given by Krishna only in the last moment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
and because I heard Prabhuji that from very exalted devotee that if we can do in our whole life, we can do Shravanam and Kirtanam, then in our last breath, Krishna will remember us and
Yes.
he'll come.
Will come. Yes.
Definitely he'll come, right?
Yeah, the Gajendra
And
example is a good one.
right,
Yes.
yes, Prabhuji. And then Prabhuji, I heard the story of Mirabai that Sandeep Prabhuji is mentioning that how we have only the gopis having or female is having the Madhurya Ras.
Mhm.
So because Prabhuji, I think yeah, because I can relate what you said. We are gopis actually, Prabhuji, because we have only one Purush, right? That is Krishna only,
Krishna.
and we
Yes.
all are gopis only,
Yeah, we have not yet realized it, but
right?
yes, we all are in that stage. Yes.
Yeah. There is
We
a
all,
story, Prabhuji, right? The Mirabai wanted to meet Rupa Goswami, and he said, "No, I'm not. I cannot meet any woman." Then
yeah.
she said that I thought because Krishna only the one who is Purush, rest
Yeah.
all are gopis only. How you can say that? So yeah, he realized that yeah, this is a good
Mhm.
actually uh, a thing which we all have to realize. We are in the body of female and man and male, but
Mhm.
actually we are gopis. Only the Krishna is the Purush.
Yes. Yeah. It's a good point. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Yeah, very good point, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Yes, Gandharvika. Your hand is raised. Yes, wait. Oh, there you are. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so
Hare
much for
Krishna.
So can one stay at neophyte stage if the practice is not steady for a long time, like decades after decades?
Yes, you can. You can live. We have lived millions of lifetimes in that Maya, in that being in that material mindset. We can come to bhakti and still sit on the sand, not go into the ocean. You can spend lives and lives in there. Yes. And but then that's very unfortunate. That'll be very unfortunate for somebody that person found devotees, got connected to some chanting process, but then that person never progressed. So it's a very unfortunate event. But yes, to answer your question, yes, people can stay in that position.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hare Krishna.
So Prabhuji, just Maya is holding them back and not tipping them over, right? That's why they're still Mayavadi.
Well, we should not always put the blame on Maya. It's an easy thing to do. We all should take responsibility for our bhakti process. Prabhupada says this in the beginning of this. If you all remember, if you go back and read the preface of Nectar of Instruction, Prabhupada says the progress in bhakti depends upon the practitioner. I'm paraphrasing it. He said something similar. So it all depends on us. Yes, Maya is there for sure. That is constantly poking us. But it's my endeavor also, my hard work also that can make a difference. So I should not always put the blame on Maya and say, oh, no, whenever Krishna wants, whenever he takes away Maya, then I will rise in bhakti. No, I have to put in a hard endeavor also.
So when people do say Krishna's mercy and I didn't get pulled over, it's thoda sa cowardness, right?
So if you say that, so it depends in which scenario you're saying it's Krishna's mercy. If something wrong goes with us, and then I say, oh no, it was Krishna's mercy, I'm seeing it as Krishna's mercy. That's a good thing to say. But if you're sitting on the corner, not getting into bhakti seriously, and you say, oh no, when Krishna mercy comes, then I'll do it. That's all nonsense. I don't appreciate that personally. It's not a good thing to say. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Thank you. Is everything clear? Let's see. No more hands.